All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever stopped to think about how some of the great storytellers manage to create characters that just stick with you, like for years? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain on the secret to how they build that incredible, unbreakable connection between a character on the screen and you.
Seriously, think about it for a second. You know that feeling when you're so deep into a movie you totally forget you're even watching one? You feel what the character feels. Their win is your win. Their heartbreak? Well, it hits you right in the chest. How in the world do writers and directors pull off what feels like a magic trick? Well, I'm here to tell you it isn't magic at all. It's a very specific and really powerful technique.
And the key ingredient here, it might actually surprise you. It's trauma. Not just as some throwaway backstory, but as the active, driving force that brings the audience and the character together. You can think of it as the engine that powers the entire connection. So picture this. When a movie starts, there is a huge emotional gap. On one side, you have the character's very specific trauma. Take Marlin from Finding Nemo, right? He lost his wife and almost all his kids in a single horrific attack. That's his pain. On the other side, you have us, the audience, with our own general life experiences, our own baggage with fear, loss, and anxiety. At the beginning, those two things are miles apart. The entire job of a great story is to do one thing: close that gap. As the plot moves forward, you, as the viewer, start to feel that distance shrinking, almost without noticing it. Suddenly, Marlin's very specific, crippling fear of the ocean starts to feel a lot like your own general fear of losing someone you love. The specific starts to feel universal. But here's the thing, and this is absolutely critical. This connection can't just happen whenever. No, there's a deadline. The storyteller is literally in a race against the clock to make you care. And that window of opportunity, it's way smaller than you'd think. Yep, 30 minutes. In your standard 2-hour movie, that first half hour is everything. It is the make or break period. Going back to Finding Nemo, they show you Marlin's trauma and his overprotective parenting style right away. That emotional bridge has to be built in that first act. It's not just about setting up the story, it's about setting up the emotional stakes. And the stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't just some friendly advice. For storytellers, this is basically a law. If the audience doesn't feel that gap closing within those first 30 minutes, they're probably going to check out emotionally. The movie loses its grip and, well, it fails to connect. So that brings up a really important question, right? Why on earth would we, the audience, willingly connect with the private and often really painful trauma of a total stranger on a screen? I mean, what's in it for us to want to feel their pain? The answer is actually pretty simple, and it's super powerful. We're all looking for a payoff. We subconsciously invest ourselves in a character's journey because we expect some kind of emotional reward at the end. You know, that feeling of release, of justice, of catharsis. We invest in Marlin's journey through his fear because we are craving the incredible satisfaction of seeing him reunited with Nemo. And this is where we get to the core idea of this whole thing: public trauma. This is that moment of pure storytelling magic. It's when a character's deeply personal wound gets shared so effectively that it stops being their private pain and becomes a collective emotional experience for everyone in the theater. Marlin's loss isn't just his anymore. It becomes the emotional anchor for all of us. It's ours now, too. So, how does this actually happen? Well, it's a 4-step process. First, the story introduces that private trauma. Then, the audience, looking for that emotional reward, leans in and pays attention. Next, through really skillful filmmaking, that personal trauma is shared and made to feel universal. And then, bam, private pain becomes a public trauma. It's a quick but unbelievably important transformation. And here's the bottom line. This whole process is the exact thing that allows us to truly identify with a character. It's the key. When we share their trauma, we can't help but see a part of ourselves in them. Think about Good Will Hunting. Will's childhood abuse is his private, secret pain, until that unforgettable scene where Robin Williams' character just keeps repeating, "It's not your fault." In that moment, that trauma becomes public, and we are right there in that room with him, feeling every ounce of it. You know, understanding this idea of public trauma isn't just some high-level film theory. It's actually a really practical, powerful blueprint. It's a tool that any storyteller can use to build narratives that are way more effective, way more resonant, and just completely unforgettable. So what is this blueprint? First, you have to acknowledge that emotional distance exists. Then, use that first act, that crucial 30 minutes, to close it. You have to build your story around a compelling private trauma. always remember that your audience is there because they want an emotional payoff. And finally, put all your creative energy into that amazing transformation from a private pain into a shared public experience. That right there is the secret. So I want to leave you with this question. Think about your absolute favorite movie, the one that gets you every single time. Now, ask yourself this. What private trauma did that character share with you that made you connect so deeply? How did their pain become a part of your experience? The answer to that, well, that's the heart of great storytelling.